All right, today is day 4 of week 3. So 4/20. Actually, today is the 20th, but this is for those of you who are ready to go for the last day of this week 3. It says number 1 for minute 57. Monique weighs 84 pounds. When she is holding her baby brother and she weighs 96 pounds, how much does Monique's baby brother weigh? So if this is what she weighs carrying him, and this is what she weighs on her own, her brother would be the difference between this. So you want an expression x plus 84 equals 96, or 96 minus 84 equals x, which is her brother's weight. So you subtract that. 90 minus 80 is 10, 6 minus 4 is 2. He would weigh 12 pounds. Alright, next, complete the factor tree. Factor tree is when you break the number apart. So on this side, if this is 5, 5 times what is 45? 5 times 9 is 45. And 5 is a prime number, 3 is prime, and 3 is prime, because 9 is broken into 3 and 3. So all you really needed to add there was a 9. What is the common denominator for 1/3 plus 1/2? The denominator is the number that you have in common between 2 and 3 when you are multiplying. So we're going to skip count by 3's, 6, 9, and then we want the least common denominator. We don't want to go really far. We're looking for the smallest number. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and right here they don't have the 3's in common, but they do have a 6. So that means the common denominator for 1/3 and 1/2 is 6. Six is the common denominator. Okay, now we have this problem which needs to be solved in order using the order of operations. So PEMDAS, P-E-M-D. MD is multiply and divide from left to right, and then add or subtract from left to right. So it doesn't matter if it's division or multiplication, but it is always left to right. Now in this one, we do have a set of parentheses, so we're going to do that. And notice the exponent is on the outside of the parentheses, so make sure you're really paying attention. So 3 plus 5 is 8. And then we have this thing called squared, or to the second power. It's on the outside. And then we don't have a symbol between here. And remember, if you don't have a symbol between a parentheses and a number or a variable, it is to multiply. So this would be multiplied by 1/2. This one is going to be tricky for a lot of you guys, so please pay attention to this. Now we're going to do the exponents. So we've done the parentheses, now we're doing exponents. Exponents is 8 to the second power. That is not 8 times 2. This is 8 times 8. And 8 times 8 is 64. And then we have still this last part, so we've done the multiplying. Now we're going to do the multiply and divide because we have a symbol here to multiply by 1/2. So when you think about multiplying something by 1/2, it would be the equivalent of cutting the number in half, because you're saying, what is 1/2 of 64? The multiplication symbol can often be replaced with the word of. So 1/2 of 64. So 1/2 of 64 is equal to 32. Another way to do that, just in case you wanted to know, you can show another mathematical way by putting 64 over 1 is the same. And when 64 over 1 is the same as 64. 100 over 1 is the same as $100. And when you multiply fractions, I just want to point this out, it is very simple. All you do when you multiply fractions, as long as you have an improper fraction, you just multiply straight across. which would be 64 over 2. And then when you have that, you want to know how, if 2 go into every group, how many times can 2 go into 64? 2 can go into 64. 2 can go into 30 times. And 2 can go in 4 twice. So 32. And you can write 32 over 1, but that's in a simplified form is the same as 32. Alright, what is the probability that a student pulled at random from class 1 is a girl? So that means if you're in this class and they reached in and they said, close their eyes and they pointed and they said, I want you. You would have 1, says what is the probability a student will be pulled out of class random? So 15 to 1, or sorry, 15 to 25. And then you can simplify this by dividing both of these numbers by a common factor, common multiple. 5 can go into both 15 and 25, which would mean you would have 3/5 of a chance of getting a girl, or 3 to 5, or 15 to 25. This symbol right here, this what you would usually think of when you're looking at like maybe English or writing paper, this is actually a symbol that means 15 to 25, and you do have to go in order. So they said, what is the probability that a student will be pulled? What is the probability that a student pulled at random will from class 1 is a girl? Oh, so I should kind of flip that around, but it's really 3 to 5, so it's either way. Which of the following solves this problem? 2x plus 3 equals 15. There's no symbol there, so that actually means that you need to multiply a number. So if I substitute, I'm going to put, which of the following solves the problems? They give us 5, 4, 7, and 6. If I put 6 here, 2 times 6 is 12, and 12 plus 3 is 15. So it's actually that one. But just so you know, it's the same as your input-output table. It would be like your x would be here. So you'd have 5, 4, 7, and 6. And we need to get to 15. So every time it's going to be 2x plus 3 equals y. And in this case, y is always going to be, or we want to get to 15. We don't know which one is going to equal. So if we substitute 2 times 5 is 10 plus 3 is 13. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 3 is 11. 2 times 7 is 14 plus 3 is 17. And 2 times 6 is 12 plus 3 is 15. So in this case, sorry, that's very tiny and looks kind of sloppy. That 15 did. I'm going to erase it, make just a little bit more clear. Right here. So the answer is 6. It says complete the analogy. If you have a circle is to a circle cut in half as a square to is a what? A circle cut in half, a rectangle cut in half, or a square? Maybe a square. Find 2 pairs of different unequal odd numbers that complete the equation. 2 pairs of different, so they can't be the same, unequal, odd numbers. So odd, sometimes people forget what odd means. Odd means like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 10. Or sorry, 11. 10 is an even number. We need to find 2 pairs of different numbers, and so this really could be any of these. I could do 9 and 1, that makes 10. I could do 7 and 3, but I cannot do 5 and 5 because it says 2 unequal ones. So I'm going to put 9 and 1. Fill in the missing numbers to complete the chart. They show us what happens. So this one says 1 numbers, 1 and 4, the sum is 5, the difference would be subtracted. 1 minus 4. And just so you know, when you're doing this one for number 9, they're actually not having you do negative numbers, which is, the order shouldn't be that way then. Because this, otherwise, this one would look like this. 1 minus 4, which would actually get you to negative 3. But they are showing an answer that would make you believe that they're doing 4 minus 1, which is 3. And this one did the same thing because they had 6. The 2 is in front, but they actually made it so they're positive numbers. So this one, product, which is multiplication, subtraction is for difference, sum is for adding. Product, 2 and 8, the product would be multiplying them together, which would get you 16. Last problem. If x squared equals 16, then x equals, so you need to have two numbers that you want squared. So squared would be like, we need to have two numbers that on this side and this side are the same number, because we want a perfect square. So if I did 2 and 2, that would be 4. If I did 3 and 3, that would be 9. And if I did 4 and 4, that would be 16. So squared, so I have number times itself, x would be 4. All right, we did it. Hope you have a good night. Have a great couple days off.